want to thank everybody for our sixth episode of the Elevating Ecom series. We're going to today be talking about post-purchase strategies and how you can really build great relationships with customers through those in-person experiences that your ops team is going to provide. So, a little housekeeping before we get started. My name is Jeremy Horowitz. I'm the Director of Marketing. I promise I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. I'll be your moderator for today's panel. We have a really fun time. I'm not going to talk too much. Just so everybody know, everybody's on mute. So if you have any questions or if there's anything that comes through, we have a Q&A module down below. I'll be asking Q&A throughout the entire session, as well as we'll have 15 minutes dedicated at the end. If you have any problems, any trouble, Nikki on my team will be there to help. So just let us know and we'll try to take care of that as quickly as possible. So to get to the good reason why everybody came, for our amazing panelists. So I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves and we'll dive right into the conversation. So Nancey, do you want to kick us off with what you're working on and your quick background on Vontéllle?
Sure. So Vontéllle is a luxury bespoke eyewear brand, and it came about in 2019. My partner and I, we lost our eyewear, very expensive eyewear, and we were looking for eyewear that had some culture, so a different style, fashionable, and better fitting. And when we didn't see it in the marketplace, we decided to do it on our own. We went to a fashion Eye Expo in Paris, France. We had the luxury of doing something like that. And when we went, there were thousands, probably over 10,000 people present. And the one thing that wasn't present were people of color. So, and then the other thing that was missing was what we were trying to do. Patterns, textiles. You can see I have like a kente print on the side. We do a lot of color, a lot of fun eyewear that's both luxury and better fitting for people who may have different features, like my nose, the bridge is a little wider, my cheekbones may be high, and also the temples on our glasses are longer. So we do it for people who have different and diverse features. So we took a normal everyday necessity and transformed it into a stylish and more comfortable fit for people with diverse features.
Very cool.
So that's Vontéllle eyewear.
Yeah, awesome. Izzy, you want to give a quick background on yourself and Harper Wilde?
Sure. So I'm Izzy. I'm our VP of Operations and Finance, and Harper Wilde is a direct-to-consumer intimates brand. So bras and underwear. It was started by two co-founders out of Wharton in 2017. Who just really saw an opportunity in the market to do comfortable, well-priced basics direct to consumer. So why is there not a Warby Parker of bras? Because it's a really unpleasant item to shop for, kind of in the conventional, going to a department store. It's a hassle. It's not fun. It's not convenient. And so, that's what we've been doing since 2017 is just trying to get comfortable, affordable bras that, stand for something out into the market.
Awesome. Very cool. So let's dive right in. I think the interesting thing that I want to talk about today and start off with is how do you think about and how do you recommend a brand get started when they're revamping their post-purchase strategy? Where should they start to create that great customer experience? So Nancey, I'm going to toss that one to you first.
Sure. So the one thing that I always try to keep in mind that long before I started my business, I was a consumer. And always think like a consumer, the things that made you like a brand, think of experiences that you've had that made you want to become a repeat customer or even want to do that. So during my college years, I was a customer service representative. I'll always remember the general rules of customer service. So I keep those things in mind. And it's revamping and just even when you begin. So I've managed to keep these things in line. Existing customers, remember, they are the treasure trove of your business, of any business. They can evangelize your brand. They can help you expand your brand and your audience. They are going to be your loudspeaker. They help you create a really reliable customer base. So one of the things that we like to do is we like to personalize our customer delivery experience. Know and understand your customer base. Our customers have had a hard time finding eyewear that generally fits them. Or now that we're on Zoom so much, a lot of people wear glasses all day. So you want to your eyeglasses, like Jeremy, you also wear glasses. They're the centerpiece of your face. So it's always nice when you get a compliment or when you walk in the room and people see your glasses first. So that's the thing that we think when we are creating glasses. We also think about loyalty programs. That's really key. Our refund policy, think about your refund policy and things of that nature. So those are the things that we generally do to keep our customers happy. And also your packaging. So it's like a gift when they receive it. When they get that box, they open it up and they have that big smile on their face. That's what you want them to remember. So those are just a few things that you should think about for revamping, or just in general, having a good customer experience.
Yeah, definitely. I find that I keep a lot of the great packaging that I have, and it kind of lives in the closet, but it's still like very cool. And we sometimes take it out and look at it because it's so pretty. Izzy, how about yourself? Like, how do you think about if a brand really wants to revamp their post-purchase strategy? Like, where should they start?
Well, I mean, I think if you're revamping, that means that there's a problem, right? So I think tactically, strategically, it's going to be different for every brand, and just identify kind of the most critical pain point and fix that first. I think I totally agree with Nancey that creating an effective post-purchase strategy is kind of a concert of programs that you're kind of running in tandem that make the consumer feel like they've entered a community after they purchase with you, and a community where they're going to be taken care of. Not just that they've been purchased and now, you're done with them after the conversion. So I think it's different for everyone. I mean, in my experience, the most glaring pain point for most brands is returns and exchanges, just because, depending on the category, intimates, for example, is a very high returning category, period. So, when I joined Harper Wilde, that was kind of the first thing that we revamped, is that we had not a great return and exchange experience. And there are a lot of kind of great off-the-shelf solutions now that are pretty plug and play to make that just a way better experience for the customer and keep them kind of in the brand fold and taken care of, when they order the wrong size. Because just because someone is returning something doesn't mean that they don't love your brand. It doesn't mean that they have to have a bad experience with your brand. It just means they bought the wrong size often. And that's a great opportunity to take care of them.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like if they want to return or exchange it, they're putting in the effort because they really do want to enjoy the brand as well. So I think, especially as everybody over the past couple of years has shifted to such a retention focus and really trying to drive incremental revenue out from their existing customers, how are you all thinking about how do we create that great experience to really drive and increase those repeat purchases? So Nancey, I'm going to put you on the hot seat first again.
Okay, no problem. So one of the things that we do, and it was really unexpected, right? My partner and I, we initially were thinking of things that we wanted to do for customers to make us a little bit different. And prior to the pandemic is when we started, just right before is when we came up with the idea, and we launched in October of 2020 in the height of the pandemic. And we ordered masks to match all of our glasses. So these glasses have a mask that match. And so one of the things that we did is in each one of our packages. So our packaging is exquisite. It's beautiful. We get so many people that write to us personally in email just saying we love it. Or we even have people on Facebook, on IG, they do a whole unpackaging. And part of that experience is that they get the mask to match, which is unexpected. So we sell the masks separately on the website, but we also include it for customers who purchase from us. So that's one of the things that keeps them really excited, because just think about it. I just received Oprah magazine's subscription. And with that came a free bag. I have tons of free bags, but I got this free bag that I wasn't expecting, and it really made me excited. And so it makes me want to continue my subscription, because maybe next time it's a t-shirt that I can wear when I'm working out or something like that. So that's one of the things. Building an email list is also very key. So when people come onto our website, the first thing that we do is we offer a discount and we say, please enter your email so that they can receive our newsletter, any discounts, anything that we're doing. So that's another strategy that we have. Keeping your fans engaged. We do surveys, things like that. We send emails saying, hey, what do you think about this? We have that. And even to we have new products coming out, and we offer these individuals discounts up front or the ability to be the first to order before the item even hits the shelves. So that's another thing that we do. You want to make sure that you also follow up with your abandoned cart. So, people sometimes leave things behind in the cart. You want to go back and follow that to have that, and then a reactivation campaign, because some people you may lose along the way. So you want to be able to do that, and also be accessible. Answer all of your emails when customers send you requests or comments or ask questions or anything like that. Respond to them within 24 hours. It's just myself, my partner, and one other person, but we answer every single email that comes through. We divide and conquer. If all of a sudden we're on a TV show and people see our stuff, we get tons and tons of questions. We respond to them one by one. We don't care if we have to be up till midnight or 1 a.m. We respond to every single thing. And last, I'd say, there's so many different things I could say, but try to make your ordering seamless. Allow customers to create an account so that when they come back to reorder, their information is already populated. So they feel special. Like, I don't have to put all this information in there again. And most websites do that. So those are just a few things that you can do to, strategize.
Yeah. And I feel like the free gift with order creates a little bit of mystery of like, whoa, what is this? And like, what could come next time? And it has that kind of game-like element to just making a purchase. So Izzy, same question to you. Like, what's some things that you all are doing that's very effective to get people to come back and buy more?
Yeah. So, I think there's speaking to this from an operations perspective, because obviously there's this ton of stuff, like on the CRM and brand front that happens. It's like very technical, and it's not my swim lane. But from the operations perspective, I think there's a bare minimum of service that you need to provide, which is like, you need to get the right things to the right customers in a timely manner. And like for small brands, that is not always a given. So, I think really like focusing on that in the early days is important. And like people, even if you can't compete with the Amazons of the world on shipping speeds, because like we can't, right? You can get their orders out quickly so that they kind of feel like you're being responsive and get that, Shopify your order ship notification same day or next day. I think the other thing, to Nancey's point, is just being really, really responsive to your customers. And like not just being responsive in a reactive way, but being proactive. Our CX team has done an amazing job of being proactive, because like it's small businesses, things go wrong frequently. Like they just do. And the best thing that you can do is get ahead of it. And so, we tag all of our customer orders. We use Shopify customer and order tags kind of based on the interactions that they've had with customer experience. And we have the privilege of being able to say that customers who have a touch point with CX actually have a higher repeat rate than customers who don't, which I think is, this amazing thing and is a real testament to the CX team. And the reason that they're able to be so proactive is that we're just maniacal about data. So we have so many Daasity dashboards. And, they're checking those every day and saying like, hey, it looks like this customer's order might be delayed. Like I haven't heard from this customer yet, but it should have been there by now and it's not. And so I'm just going to go ahead and send her a replacement, send a discount code or just send an email saying I'm sorry. And so I think that goes a long way. We run a loyalty program, which there are are a lot of kind of off the shelf, kind of set and forget loyalty programs now that are Shopify native. We use Swell, and that's been really helpful too, just because it automates the, rewards for your best performing customers so that you don't have to have the head count, combing through customer lists and creating those manually. I thought it was interesting. Forerunner did a survey this year. It said that 75% of consumers belong to a loyalty program, 50% belong to 3 or more programs, and 61% are more likely to spend where they are a program member. So loyalty programs, I think, are kind of a must in this age of very, very competitive CAC.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I had no idea it was that many people, and that many people are a part of that many different programs. So we actually had a question come in about the free gift strategy. So, and Nancey, I'll throw this to you, but Izzy, feel free to chime in. Do you suggest including it in just the first order, or is that something that you do in every subsequent order as well? Like, is that a kind of a free gift to get a new purchaser to stay, or is that a benefit that you can figure out the cost of over time?
For us, we have different eyewear. So more than likely, if somebody comes on the site, they may buy 1 or 2 pair, and we have several more. So if they come back, they're going to get a different mask to match that particular piece of eyewear that they have. So we do it over and over. We try to keep track of what we sent the customer the last time. We have 4 colors in this particular eyewear: red, green, and black. So the mask on these are all going to be the same. So we may send them just a plain black mask if we know that we already sent them the mask that matches the temple on this per se. But the other thing that we do is we may also send them an email saying, hey, you got your product. We hope you love it. Please please write us a review, and then we'll send you a gift card. So that's another thing that we do even post, is that we offer gift cards after the fact, or refer a friend and we'll give you a gift card. So those are just things that we do also with the post. So we continue the gifts. The cycle can continue, whether they use it or not, we offer it.
That's great. Is there anything like that you all are doing from a shipment or from a free gift with purchase type of strategy that you all have found to be super successful?
So it's gift with purchase. I think it's really hard to measure the success. I think it's one of these like kind of squishier things. It's very hard to attribute. Sorry, if you hear my dog groaning in the background. He's a real snorer. But so we do gifts with purchase. We isolate them based on product. So we create fulfillment rules. So Nancey, I think similar to you, will say if the consumer has this SKU in their cart, then attach this gift with purchase. And we do it based on campaigns. So we've been launching these kind of limited edition campaigns. Most recently, we did this color campaign that was kind of a theme of holographic. And so we sent this really pretty kind of a holographic inspired silk scarf. And so that way it's like, if you were a new customer buying from the Holo collection, or if you're a repeat customer buying from the Holo collection, you got that gift until it ran out. And I think it's nice. I think it's great for social content, hard to measure. The one thing I caution about with gift with purchase programs is that they can be hard to scale because they add a lot of pick pack complexity. And it just like, I think gift with purchase is awesome if the fundamental pick pack is there. But I have often seen small brands, I think, push too hard to provide this over customized experience where it puts too much of a strain on their 3PL. And I would just say, like, prioritize the core business of getting the right customers, the right things in a timely manner before you level up to gift with purchase. Because that's like, that's a D2C, 201 move.
And when you say pick pack complexity, can you just give us like a high level of what you mean by that?
So when warehouses are putting things into boxes, they're getting an order and then they're getting SKUs and they're going to different bins and they're, scanning the bin putting the SKU in the box. And then to like gift with purchase is necessarily a surprise because the customer has not added that SKU to their order. So you need post-purchase like OMS, WMS logic that is then inserting an additional SKU into that order for the warehouse to know to pick it. Or you circumvent that and you begin working with just like humans and you're like, hey, if somebody has this, can you like keep a stack of these things by the pick pack station and go ahead and put it in? And if you have too many of those things running at the same time, it just gets really risky, I think, from just overwhelming your 3PL and kind of risk hurting that relationship, but also just risk not being able to provide the fundamental service that you need to provide.
Definitely. And Nancey, have you found any effective strategies around, like, it seems like you're theming it by color. So it's a little bit like, have you figured out packaging or a strategy so that it makes it easy to fulfill those orders so that there isn't that level of complexity or difficult to execute that strategy?
Yeah, we limit how many we do at a given time, and then we do it by SKU. So it's very easy to create system-based rules that if this SKU, then this gift with purchase SKU.
Awesome. And Nancey, did you all find anything that's effective?
I mean, for us, it's not that hard because we don't have quite as many items yet, right? We have like 40 items. So for us, it's pretty easy. We have everything laid out. And so when we have to pull, we just go directly to that particular item. Now, once we double and triple that number, it may get trickier, but we're still, within a space that it's comfortable and we don't make too many errors at this point.
Yeah, that's great. So it's a simple, great brand. It's a big experience for the customer that keeps things really simple. So I know we talked a lot about free gifts with purchase, but how do you all think about upsell revenue? And how do you all think about driving that AOV up for those subsequent purchases? Is there a specific tactic that's worked really well, or is there a specific infrastructure that you all have built that has made that effective? Nancey, I'm gonna toss that one to you first.
Okay, no problem. So for upselling for us, it's about we offer prescriptions along with the eyewear. And a lot of people, even though they have insurance, we don't accept insurance. We accept like FSA and HSA, which is like, the family. So what we do is we can upsell by saying, hey, our prescriptions are cheaper and probably less of a deductible. Or what we can do is we'll provide you with a detailed invoice so that you can turn it back in to your insurance and they will reimburse you. So our upsell is generally the prescriptions, and we offer discounts. So when you sign on to our website, again, the pop-up is there. We take your information so that we can create our email list. And we also have the ability to, we can upsell before and during the sale. So during the sale, a pop-up will come available saying, do you need a prescription? And our prescriptions really are inexpensive. They're like $75, blue blockers are $15, readers are $25, and progressives are $100. So when you look at that and Jeremy, from experience, prescriptions run $400 or $500. Depending on what you want. And we do polycarbonate. All of that is included in the 75, the 100, and transitions are an additional $50. So we do everything. You can get all of the bells and whistles for an additional $150. And that may sound like a lot, but when you look at what you probably would pay out of pocket, it is inexpensive. So our upsell is that. So we offer discounts. We upsell by downselling because our prescriptions are so inexpensive, and we provide consistent value to the customer. We use the best acetate. And another thing is that if you lose your glasses, you break them within a year of purchase, you just fill out a form and we provide you with a new pair of glasses at no cost. So that's just another thing that we broadcast so that our customers know that we stand firmly behind our brand.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like brands I don't know if they've just deprioritized it, but I feel like they don't talk about their warranties and guarantees as much anymore, which I know can be an operational headache. But I feel like it really does make consumers so much more confident in their purchase. So Izzy, same question to you. Like, how do you think about upselling? How do you think about driving that AOV up and actually being able to fulfill that on the back end?
Yeah, I mean, so I think what comes to mind for me is less post-purchase strategies and more pre-purchase strategies, because it's work that we're doing on site to try to increase cart size. We have like what we call a complete your drawer module. So, if you have just added, say, our base bra to your cart, the complete the drawer module will recommend that you add a matching pair of underwear. So, I mean, kind of basic stuff like that. We also, we do virtual bundles where basically if a consumer has, this set of SKUs in their cart, it'll automatically trigger a bundle discount, or they can drop it as a bundle from a, bundle PVP. And that has helped drive up net AOV a lot too. I think, just as a very tactical example, we offer what we call, 3-for pricing for our underwear. So the underwear are $12 each or 3 for $27. And we message that very clearly. 80% of our underwear are sold in sets of 3s. So I think just kind of setting up those pricing incentives in a way that's very clear for the customer to understand and reward them buying in bulk, that goes a long way.
So for the virtual bundle, I'm assuming that that explodes into individual pick pack on the SKU level. But for those 3-for-4s, is that a pick pack of just you're putting them together, or are you bundling, reskewing? No,
everything is virtual bundles exploded in cart. And I'm a big proponent of paying for the dev work upfront to do that versus sending, bundle SKUs to your warehouse and either having them translate that to components or actually, kitting true physical bundles. They both have different drawbacks. Kitting physical bundles ties up your component inventory of bundles, which you don't want to do. And then asking your WMS to explode the bundle post-purchase means that the customer can't do a partial bundle return or exchange, which is a terrible experience. So I could talk about that at length. I have a lot of scar tissue around that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting challenge. We're going to circle back to that after this. My next question for you is how do you measure success? What are the KPIs? What are the framework that you use to say, we are doing a really great job delivering that post-purchase strategy for our customers?
I think there are a bunch of KPIs. I think in a very at a program specific level, you can always do just, a return on investment analysis, right? It's hey, I had attribution data about, whatever. I turned on a NARVAR sort of thing, and it's sending this much traffic back to my site. It's driving this much incremental revenue. I'm paying this much a month for it. What's the net incremental revenue? I think that's an obvious one. But, to this conversation that we've been having around kind of an effective post-purchase strategy being many programs in concert, attribution is hard. And so I think you pick a few key KPIs. For us, that has been 3-month repeat. So what percentage of, your customer base is repeating after 3 months TOB or less? And then you just watch and see, are these things that I'm doing, are they changing that? And you make some kind of informed assessments about what, what's there.
Yeah. And for everyone who isn't familiar, what does TOB stand for?
Oh, time on books. Sorry. So 1 month TOB is customers who have had, 1 month since their first purchase. And so, it's we look at stuff like that. I mean, we also look at kind of CX metrics like NPS, which is Net Promoter Score, or CSAT, which is customer satisfaction, just to try to get a pulse check on okay, after interacting with the brand, our customers, because directionally happy customers are more likely to repeat.
Yeah, definitely. And directionally unhappy customers are probably going to become problems. So speaking of unhappy customers and dealing with that, what I want to kind of dive into, and I feel like you both have mentioned a good amount today, is returns. And like, how do you handle returns? How do you think about returns? How are you strategizing that into your business? So Nancey, I'm going to ask you that first. Like, how are you all planning and working with returns right now with just all the infrastructure and operational challenges that we're all facing?
I've got to say, we've been in business since October of 2020, and we've probably, out of all of the purchases we've probably had about 10 returns. So our strategy is one, and we have not had a lot. If we have a return, it's generally because the item that they purchased may have been too big for their face or something like that. And so we'll go in and we literally are one-on-one with those customers, like, okay, so this didn't work, but let us send you another 3 pair to try for free. And then let us know which ones you like, and we'll put your prescription in those. So we do that. We will send it, if customers who are on the fence to begin with, they kind of email us and they let us know, I want to try these, but I'm not sure. And so we'll send them on a conditional basis, kind of like a Warby Parker, but we don't really have that model set up yet. But we'll trust by holding onto their credit card, and, we'll just run it for like $1 just to hold it. And then when they return it, we'll, and if they purchase, we'll just deduct whatever we may have billed them, and we'll send the return slip in the package for those customers who may have been on the fence. And then remember, we also, for us, we have a 30-day return policy. As long as you don't have a prescription in the eyewear, you can return it with no problem. But once we put the prescription in it for you, it's a lot more difficult for you to return, because you're not going to get your money back on the actual prescription. You will on the glasses, but not on the prescription, because that's done by a different outside vendor that we had to pay to get that done. But our return really is that we have a, you can return your purchase if you choose to. And if something happens to it, within the year's time, we will provide you another pair at no cost. So that's our warranty/return policy. We make it really easy breezy. And again, we have really had a lot of success where our return policy, our returns just in general, is at a 0.1% out of everything that we've done to date. It's really, really low. So, we are grateful for that.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Izzy, how are you all dealing with returns?
We are in a very high returning category by nature. So I think a lot about returns because it's, returns are just a part of the customer journey for many of our customers. I think there's a piece of it about trying to mitigate returns where we do a fit quiz to try to help get people in the right size, because obviously the best customer experience is going to be getting the right size from day one. The other thing that we do is we're just incredibly lenient. We really, I think it's a leap of faith to buy a bra online. It's a hard to fit garment. And so we just want customers to feel like there's no risk. And I think that makes them much more likely to repeat again, kind of knowing that we'll do right by them, and that we won't stick them with something that they don't want. So we actually extended our return policy to 60 days during COVID, and we haven't brought it back down because it's not changed our returns curve. 80% of our returns come back within 2 weeks. And when it was 30 days and when it was 60 days, that returns curve stayed exactly as it was. And we also, we utilize a service called Loop, which is, a Shopify native returns and exchange platform. And they make it very easy to kind of set up rules. And so we have different rules by product types, but in all cases, very lenient. And we also incentivize customers to exchange rather than return by letting them keep the kind of full value of their product. They don't have to give up any discounts that they may have gotten on their initial purchase.
Very cool. Okay, so we have a question from the audience from Takesha. Are there any businesses where return exchange policies may not be beneficial? And then does it hurt a small business to not have a return or exchange policy? I guess we'll start there, and then there's one more follow-up question from that.
What do you mean by that exactly? To not have a policy?
Like just not offer returns. I feel like both of your businesses probably do. Whereas I definitely know other businesses, if you're in CPG, food and bev, like it probably, if someone buys like, I don't know, soda in cans and they don't like the experience, like you probably should just credit them their money back. I don't know that it's going to be cost effective. My recommendation would be to do an analysis of how much it costs you to return an item and then what's the likelihood that you can resell it. Because I don't know, for Izzy, for your brand, right? Like for Harper Wilde, there probably is a decent amount of the SKUs that come back that can be resold, and there is some still profit to be made on the cycle of that inventory, right?
Yeah, I mean, because most customers just try on a bra and it comes back clean, and we audit everything very carefully. But yes, we have a very high salvage rate. But I think, not offering returns, I think it's really category dependent and it's price point dependent. Because not offering returns is going to drive up your customer acquisition cost, right? Because it makes conversion harder. You're putting a conversion barrier in front of the customer because they're like, oh, I don't know, it doesn't work out, I can't return it. So I think you have to weigh the cost of returns against the conversion differential. And then I think it's just a customer expectation thing, because from CPG, most customers would not expect a company to give them a refund on a 6-pack of soda if they didn't like the soda flavor. But we exist in a category where customers do expect to see returns.
Yeah. I think that really just depends on your business. But if you don't have, I know me as a consumer, if you don't have a return or exchange policy, more than likely, unless it's, like you said, perishable, I probably wouldn't go with your company.
Yeah. Also, Nancey, it sounds like you all have the 1-year warranty also sounds like it's another version of that, where if somebody isn't the sales tactic still works, because even if I don't want to return the item, I know that I'm going to anything happens in that year, I still have that warranty. So I think a lot of brands can do that as well. Is if you can't return it, just offer the warranty, offer them the credit back. And I mean, I know now I'm hearing reports that Amazon is just turning away any item because it's so expensive for them to just process the returns. So I think it's much more of the sales tactic. And then Trina asked, Izzy, what was the return software that you mentioned?
We use Loop.
Okay, so Loop returns.
Mm-hmm.
And then it looks like Donna is also asking, did you see an uptick or an increase in return rate, and how did it impact customer LTV with Loop?
Our return rate actually went down after we implemented Loop, because we were able to convert 67% of our returns into exchanges. That was our exchange portion for 2021. So that's been great.
Awesome. Okay. So for my next question, I guess, what positive impacts have happened to the overall business from investing so much time and optimizing so much of this experience? So Izzy, I'm going to throw that one back to you first.
So this is probably a non-traditional answer, but our focus on kind of repeat and LTV has led us to change our assortment a little bit. So one thing, that we've really been diving deep on is different LTV outcomes by what is in a customer's first cart. And so we found that customers who have a non-wired bra in their first cart have higher LTVs. They're more likely to repeat. And I think that makes sense for a category, right? It's just it's much easier to fit a bralette than it is to fit an underwire bra, and bralettes just are more comfortable than underwire bras. And so we have put a lot of focus, one, on like trying to make sure that as many new customers as possible have one of those super, super comfy non-wired bras in their first cart. And we have also kind of assorted more deeply into non-wired styles. And we drive a lot of color newness kind of in those best performing non-wired styles. Because we're a core basics business. And so for us, 80% of our repeat customers are repeating on a style that they've already purchased once before. And so we really tailor kind of our fashion accordingly. So we do a lot of limited edition color drops kind of in these best sellers to re-engage existing customers.
And then are you also like loading up on that specific inventory? Like, is that where the inventory budget is shifting as well?
Yeah, I mean, because we always want to be in stock in those products, and it's just, we have kind of the luxury of having some really great hero products that are evergreen that we can invest in. I think the other thing we've done that's a little non-traditional is we run a recycling program. So with every customer order, we send a home compostable shipping bag and invite the consumer to send us up to 6 bras, up to 12 pairs of underwear, and we recycle those free of charge. And we have seen that customers who participate in that program have a 50% higher LTV. It's a very expensive program for us to run, but it's a very differentiated program that I think provides real value to the consumer. And kind of makes her, shows her that our money is where our mouth is, kind of when we talk about investing for kind of circularity.
Okay, definitely want to come back to the recycling program in a second. But Nancey, I want to ask you the same question. Like, what have you seen on the impact of the business by really optimizing this post-purchase experience and the operations of everything we've been discussing today?
Yeah, so for us, for the post, one of the things that we recently added to our website is the virtual try-on program. So we invite people to come back to the site and check out any new product that we have and, try on different pair of glasses. The thing that's a little different with us is that unless you are an eyewear connoisseur, you're probably only going to buy 1 to 2 pair per year. So for us, it's a little different than buying, perishables or, underwear and things like that. I can buy new underwear every month if I choose to, but I'm not going to buy a new pair of glasses every month because they're a little bit, the price is a little different. So our approach is look at what we have new, check it out. And we'll send out letters out, things like how to maintain your eyewear, 6 things that you can do, celebrate certain months like, glaucoma month, have you visited your doctor, and sending them doctors that, we can customize by sending them doctors in their areas if they don't have a regular optometrist or something. So our approach is just a little bit different in how we do it because we are generally, you make a purchase with us once a year, unless it's seasonal, because then you'll buy sunglasses at certain times of the year. So how we approach is just a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like customers are probably considering that as, I'm actually shocked that it's once a year. I feel like that's like buying a lot of glasses. Like I've had these for like 4 years, or maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just me as a consumer, but
right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So how do you think about that? And I guess it's kind of going back to your points earlier about the like packaging. Like, how do you think about that where the customer making that investment in the brand? Like, how do you think about that overall experience from the like entire brand experience? Like, is there anything else that you all consider a tenet of like, they're only going to buy once a year, so we're going to do these couple things. Like I know we talked about the gift with purchase. We talked about the packaging that you all think is like has been really effective in keeping those customers loyal and coming back.
I'm going to be honest, I can't think of anything in particular that we're doing, or there's probably a ton of things that we could be doing differently. But for us, it's anniversaries. So we try to, send out an email to individuals when it's their anniversary, and we know that they purchased from us. So we're like, 11 months in, we're like, oh, you're coming up on your year anniversary. Have you visited your optometrist lately? And check out these new styles, and also for birthdays. So we pay attention to those things for our individuals. And we try to be very personable because we're small. We can be really nimble, and we try to do things like that. So, we try to be impactful. We try to see how we can be helpful, and we try to see how we can celebrate different points in their lives. The other thing that that my partner and I do is we follow people. We follow them if they tag us on social media. So also use social media as a friend, because that's a great way to get them engaged regularly with your stuff. When they tag you after they purchase, follow them and like their things on occasion. You don't have to do it every day, but we, part of our social media team, that's what they do on our behalf, is to follow our consumers, not stalking, just follow, and occasionally send out a happy birthday, or just a quick message. You look great. We're really very personable like that.
Yeah. And I also feel like that makes knowing that there's humanizing the brand and knowing that there are actual people that are working there, I'm sure makes it a lot easier to make that larger purchase of hey, I know that I can reach out to somebody specifically. And I know it's a real human and not just some random generic email if I do have a question.
The last thing that we do is we ask them to send a picture of them in the eyewear. And so when we do our newsletter, we say, hey, look at our new ambassadors, and we just kind of list it out. So when I say that we are really personable, I don't know how long we can sustain that, but we try to be real personable. And also we work with charities as well. We work with several different charities. We have a scholarship organization where a certain amount of every purchase goes towards that. And then we also work with an organization, Women in Need. So we also try to show, when you make a purchase from us, these are the people that we're helping. And we also highlight those things as well. So we're real personable as a company.
Very cool. Okay. I have two more questions, but I want to open it up. So if anybody else has any questions in our last 10 minutes, please send them my way. Would love to ask these two incredible panelists any other questions that you all have. I feel like we're getting great answers out of this. So I definitely want to ask one more question and then get to the social impact that you both have been talking about. It seems like it's a pillar of both of the brands. But first, just knowing that shipping doesn't always work out perfectly. How are you all, what's your infrastructure? What's your tech stack? What's your tooling to just really inform customers on where shipments and tracking are, and really just getting ahead of we'll call the Wizmos and just customer panicking about, I don't have my order yet?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one first. We have a pretty traditional tech stack. So, we have Shopify feed directly to our warehouses WMS, which is also our OMS. We don't have a separate OMS overlay, which is nice because there are fewer places for things to break. This only works if you're, not multi-warehousing, obviously, but we're not. And then, when they mark something as fulfilled or partially fulfilled, which is very, very important. If you're going to split shipments, you must mark them partially fulfilled so the customer can receive 2 tracking numbers. It just goes through Shopify's kind of the standard email notification flow. About a year ago, we added a platform called Malomo, which is, similar to Narvar. It's a branded tracking landing page. And that's been great too. One thing I didn't realize before we added that is that the average consumer checks their tracking 4 times before a shipment arrives, which is crazy.
The anxiety is real.
The anxiety is real. So that seems like low-hanging fruit. And that's it, other than kind of the manual proactive outreach if we believe that a customer, has a delayed shipment or there's something kind of aberrant going on.
Awesome. Okay. Nancey, same question to you. What's the tech stack look like?
Yeah. So for us, we use Shopify, and our Shippo is tied to our Shopify. So, as Isabel said, for us, it's really traditional. As soon as we pack, which is usually within 24 hours of us receiving their order. We ship it out unless they're receiving a prescription, and prescriptions generally take an additional 3 to 4 days. So if you make an order on Monday, it'll likely ship out on Thursday, and they'll probably receive it by the following Monday. So they usually receive their packages within 5 business days, 5 to 7 business days. If there is no prescription, they usually receive it within 24 to 48 hours. We've had people receive it the following day, which is amazing. We also, if a customer says, I haven't received my package, we track it for them, even though they can track it, but we'll file the claim for them. We'll do whatever they need. And then we'll just ship out a replacement until we find out what happened to the original order. So we try to make it so that we take it off of the customer's hands and they don't have to worry about what's going on. We'll automatically replace it. We automatically file the claim for them, and we follow up. So, we try to make the entire purchase, post, pre, everything. We try to make everything as seamless and easy as possible. We love the Amazon model. We just haven't gotten anywhere close to that, of course, but they've got it down pat. You can pay up front. They have a subscription program, and you pay ahead, and you can get your item within the same day if you order it early enough, which is amazing. They've turned this whole shipping model upside down, and people are trying to figure out how to keep up with that. And that's one thing. We are not able to keep up with the Benjamins right now, but
and that's where something like Deliver, I think, is really interesting, right? Like they're kind of enabling D2C brands to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, just overall, we try to make it easy breezy. We try to make it seamless and fun so that the customer, all they have to do is get the package and say, yay, we got it, we love it, and then we follow up with them after.
Yeah, definitely. Because those customers are hopefully the ones that keep coming back for years and years. So we just had one question come in. So you both shared great strategies on enhancing customer experience. Do you prefer email or SMS? And I'll give a third option of both for executing on that.
We generally do email. We don't do a whole lot of SMS yet. SMS only in the, I think, Shopify platform, we will do an SMS if they left us their phone number and not their email. But generally, we do email for everything, because everything is tied to your phone now. So no matter what, you're likely going to get that communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Harper Wilde does email and SMS. We have an SMS program that people can opt into. That is like really not my swim lane, so I don't think I can say anything smart about it. But other than that, we, try to be available and not over communicate.
Yeah, I've been hearing from a lot of brands that they've been rolling out both with a lot of success, and especially when they pick different strategies and different use cases, it really also helps customers understand how to use both channels. So the one thing I want to wrap up on, because you both mentioned, I think it's a really interesting component that a lot of brands struggle to figure out how to weave into their operations, is that social impact piece of how do you go that extra mile? How do you stand for something that you believe in and that your customers believe in, and incur the costs to do business in that respect? So Nancey, I know you mentioned the nonprofits and the charities that you all work with. Like, how did you all decide, and how does I don't want to say break it down to the math, but how does the investment of work and the operations work so that you all can actually facilitate that and continue to support those organizations as you all grow?
So one of the pillars when we first started was we were going to definitely contribute to a charity. And my partner, she was the CFO of a hospital, and she really got to see how in the communities that were underserved, how two things that they were not receiving as far as healthcare. One of those was vision and the other was dental. And those were two things that people ignore a lot because they just can't afford it. Dental work is really expensive and often not covered, as the same as for vision. So we reached out to doctors in the communities that we were offering these programs. The organization we work with is called WIN, Women in Need. There are 13 shelters across the 5 boroughs of New York. And so we went to them. They accepted our proposal that we can come into those particular shelters and offer free vision care. So when we got the doctors to sign up, we also reached out because we knew that we didn't do children eyewear at the time. We're just about to launch that. So we found a partner that would provide us with eyewear for children. So we went to them and they donated that. And we also went to the Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation, which is a awesome foundation. And we signed up for a grant and we won the grant. So the grant that we received pays for the prescriptions, because prescriptions are really expensive. So we turned that money over directly to the charity. So every time someone from there, they can go to any one of these doctors across the 5 boroughs that signed up for our program and get a free eye exam, complimentary of those doctors under our program. And they get free eyewear, free vision care, and a free prescription based on the model that we've created. And it's year round. We're working with them. We've so far serviced about 4 of the WIN Women in Need shelters, and we have still another 9 more to go, but it's a work in progress and we're really excited about that. But a percentage of all proceeds goes towards us being able to provide the free eyewear, and we purchase eyewear specifically for the people in need, and it houses men and women and children. So even though it says women in need, they've expanded it to be families in need.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool.
So that's part of what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second part is we work with every store that signs up with us that's part of the Optometry Association. We give back a percentage that goes towards students, National Optometry Students Association, for them to take their board exams, because a lot of students can't afford it, especially students of color. And we give a percentage of those proceeds back so that they can take the exams to become optometrists in their local communities. And those students end up becoming doctors in smaller communities that also need their assistance.
Yeah, that's great. Also kind of funding the next generation of potential partners as well, which is very cool. So
big deal.
Yeah. So Izzy, you want to bring us home explaining how you all run a recycling program?
Sure. So, I mean, running a recycling program is one of the things that we do. We actually probably run too many causes at the same time. We can't effectively talk about them all. But, we do a big charitable component too. We donate 1% of all sales to Girls Inc. And then we also do a lot of limited edition kind of capsule embroidery programs where, a higher percentage of proceeds, often up to, 50 or 100%, will go to a charity partner. And that is separate from our recycling program, which is another initiative that we run, which is, the world's first bra recycling program. We were early to it. And basically, you cannot donate used bras and underwear. You might think that you are, but Goodwill can't take them. And they're also very difficult items to recycle because they're metal findings. You have to cut out the underwire and the hooks and eyes. And so it was a real pain point for the conscious consumer who's trying to figure out what to do with these old bras in her drawer. And so kind of providing that service to our consumers, I think feels really good, but it also kind of pays dividends, as I mentioned before, with these customers having a 50% higher LTV who participate.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. Okay. I apologize. We're a little over, but I had to ask. Those are such cool and unique programs I haven't really heard before. We want to thank everybody. Also, thank you to our panelists for joining us today. This was so great. We really appreciate everyone's time. We'll be following up with a recording of the webinar, as well as an overview of all the great topics and tips that we shared today. And I really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.